So if you have clicked on the title and thumbnail for this video, it's because you want to learn how to revive your Alcantara steering wheel. Now, that is the one downside to Alcantara. Basically, if you don't keep brushing it up, it's just going to look pretty much rubbish. And this is what you can see has happened to my steering wheel, where basically I have not really taken much care of it. I generally, instead of putting my hands on either side of the steering wheel, I tend to ride with my hands at the top of the steering wheel like this. Unfortunately, that's just going to make the pile on my steering wheel go utterly flat and dirty unless you've got completely clean hands at all times. But don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to show you how you can go from this with a completely flat pile, utterly dirty, and basically looking like it's ready for the bin, to this, where it pretty much looks like new. And it's going to be done with some pretty cheap products and requires basically not much more than your own elbow grease. So let's get into it. So what tools will I be using then for this job? Well, first of all, I'm going to be using a microfiber cloth. This is the MF1 from G-Technic, and it is by far my favourite microfiber cloth. Utterly fantastic for cleaning interior and exterior of your vehicle. I'm then also going to be using the interior shampoo from Autoglim, and then I'm also going to be using this little brush right here, which again is just a quite cheap brush, only a few pounds on Amazon. And what I will do is I will leave a link to all the products I've used in the video description so you can go check them out. So first of all, before we start trying to revive our Alcantara, we need to get it clean. Rather than spray that directly onto the Alcantara, I'm going to spray it onto the cloth. Now what's vital here is certainly, because we've already flattened our Alcantara, what we want to be doing is, rather than pressing hard and cleaning as if you would as if it was an interior plastic, we're not. What we're going to do is make sure that we've got plenty of our product on our cloth so it's pretty wet. The best thing about using a microfiber cloth is the fact that as we are gently rubbing our Alcantara to lift all that dirt out and get it as clean as possible, because its fabric is ever so gently going to start actually lifting pile, which will make it a little bit easier later on. So now we've cleaned our Alcantara steering wheel, all we're going to do now is gently try to brush that pile using this brush right here. Now, certainly from my point of view at the very beginning, what I'm going to do is literally just gently brush the Alcantara. What I found is gentle circles, okay, so get that wrist action going, but gentle circles will really aid in lifting that pile. Now, it's very important to remember we certainly are not trying to brush or scrub these fibers, so it is vitally important you remember to be as gentle as possible at all times. Merely just swiping our microfiber cloth when we're cleaning it against the Alcantara, and then when we're trying to brush it, literally just flicking it, okay, as soft as possible until, of course, we start to lift that pile. Once that pile has lifted a little bit more, if you are using the brush that I'm using right now, you might find that the bristles are becoming a little bit soft to lift any additional pile. So all I did was just trap it in my fingers just to make it a little bit more stiff, and then of course continue brushing. Now there's no other way to put it. Of course, doing this job is literally quite labor intensive, and essentially the longer you are at it, the better it is going to look. Now what I try to do is, because of course as we're lifting that pile, we are going to be exposing more and more dirt, so do not be afraid to keep wetting that cloth with our Autoglim interior cleaner. And even though we're lifting the pile, once again take our microfiber cloth and just keep cleaning as we go, because we want to get it as clean as possible. Now, one of the best things about doing this job is you can actually use some household items rather than having to go out and buy any specialist products. What you can actually do is just use, if you do have a microfiber cloth, you can use a bowl of hot water with simply some washing up liquid, and that is more than good enough to gently lift all the dirt and grease and grime and oils out of the Alcantara. And then if you don't want to buy any special brushes, you can actually use a soft bristled toothbrush to agitate and lift that Alcantara. Now, what I want to do is just stop us right there, just to show how much this is actually working. If I just slow-mo and zoom in on the pile, you can see that where it was completely flat, it is now lifted to the point where as we are using that brush, you can see we're actually starting to brush in and out lines. That is because the pile is of course lifting up and starting to look so much better. If I look at the top of the steering wheel, of course I've been sat in the driver's seat just brushing this along, but if we take a look at this side I've not been able to get to yet, you can see there is an absolutely massive difference. And really, this is no particular secret. Essentially, all you're going to do is keep using that brush, lifting the pile. Overall, it is going to look utterly fantastic and as close to new as possible. Of course, this took me around 20 minutes, so let's just look at the final result. So there we go, that is how you revive your Alcantara steering wheel to look pretty much like new. You can either use the products that I've linked in the video description, or if you don't want to spend any money, of course you can just use the general household items that I've already mentioned. But essentially, just to repeat, the more time and effort you put in, the better it is going to look. So if you enjoyed that video, please do give it a big thumbs up. It tells the YouTube algorithm more people just like you might want to watch this video. Subscribe if you're awesome. And until next time, see you again soon.